You're listening to Excellence Above Talent, a podcast where we have the hard conversations about the lives of men and what leads us to achieve greatness and suffer defeat. Hear from other men's journeys as well, as we all learn and grow together to become inspirations to ourselves and those around us. And now your host, Aaron Thomas.
What's up, my beautiful people? Aaron Thomas with Excellence Above Talent. I am here with
Kenisha, Natividad.
Natividad. I thought it was, I don't know how. Natividad? That's how you say your name?
Yes.
What do you do, Miss Kenisha Natividad?
I own a title and abstract company here in Odessa, Texas.
Tell me, what is that? What's the title and abstract company?
So we are the final step to getting your keys. We ensure that the property is yours to sell and then the buyers to buy. So we just make sure there are no outstanding liens or anything that would prevent the sale. And we make sure that the property has an insurable title for anything going forward. So yeah, that's what we do.
Cool. When did you start this project?
I started title back in 2020. Basically, it began just a name, and then in 2021, when the company that I was with crumbled, and I needed something to do in order to make it, so I just decided to start a title company. So 2021 of September is when I actually, hit the ground running.
That's kind of bold because that was kind of in the pandemic. Didn't know what was kind of the thing like my own company.
Yeah. It's either you're going to sink or you're going to swim. In title, it's so much competition, so there aren't very many mentors that are willing to help you in the game. So it's all about learning. You can't go to school for title. But then again, it's all about your why. And my why were my children and my household at the time. So you get it how you make it, right?
Yes, ma'am. You get it how you can get it. So, were you born and raised here in Odessa, Texas?
I was born in San Diego, California.
Oh, that's why you are the way you are.
And I guess you could say I was raised in Odessa.
I mean, but how long you lived in Odessa?
I graduated from Odessa High.
OHS is the best.
In 2004. And I'm from Odessa.
Got you. All right. So, podcast is a podcast where we talk about men's health and, the things that, men go through. Not saying that women don't go through things, but the suicide rate amongst men is higher than women. And my first question to everyone usually always is, why do you think that is? Especially coming from your mother and you have sons, and so
I just feel like it's the inability to cope. I just feel like it's the pressure of not having an out, and some may say it's the easy way out, but at that time, it's what's best for them in their mind. So they can go all day and they can contemplate it or whatever the case may be, but they feel like they're at the end of their rope and they have no way out. And should they have had a way out, then it should have been presented way before time. So I just feel like once it's there, it's no going back from it because they're already there.
Yeah. So how are you in this day and age? How are you raising your sons to not fall into this trap of, kind of what society says, what men are supposed to be and what they're not supposed to be and things of that nature?
I think I've taken a different approach than how I was raised. It's not the idea of forcing. I kind of let my children be free spirits in a sense to where you can mold them as much as you want. You can give them the ideas. But at the end of the day, they're humans and they're going to form their own way of thinking. So, me not putting so much pressure on what you should be or how you should act as a man, I just feel like, for one, that's not my place as a woman. And then for two, it's just being there to reassure them that their feelings are valid and basically going in line with what they're saying. So, as I grew up, it was like, girl, why you crying?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with you? Ain't nothing wrong with you. So then in a grown age, I'm just like, well, what are feelings?
Yeah.
And am I allowed to feel my feelings?
For sure.
What is sad? What is happy? And when you're told all your life nothing's wrong with you, or why you looking like that,
Don't pray about it.
Yeah. Get on your knees and pray to God.
Pray.
Then you grow up in a sense to where you don't really know what your feelings are.
Gotcha.
You don't really know if you're sad or you're happy or if you should just go somewhere and sit out.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're taught. But
so you say this is something that both men and women deal with?
Yes.
From time to time?
I will say, yeah. I feel like as a whole, I think by statistics you're saying men, but I feel like women also.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just all about the affirmations and reaffirming their feelings at a young age, letting them know, okay, it's okay to feel what you're feeling right now. Let's see how we can navigate through them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, but I don't. Yeah, I was raised that same way, but you know, one of my questions is, and it might just be me, but I don't know if your parents talk to you about counseling and, seeking help and things of that nature. But mine didn't. And so, I don't know. Do you think that's a taboo in the Black community as far as like going and talking to somebody and getting help?
So this is like a keep it real.
Yeah, hell yeah, girl. Hey, shit, all the way, good.
So basically, we were taught you don't have a problem, but you really do have a problem, and it doesn't leave outside this house.
Gotcha.
So, it's kind of like they were your in-house counselor or therapist when they really needed therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just feel like they were, no slight to our parents or how we were raised, but I just feel like they were given what they were given, right?
100%.
So they're in an age of, okay, well, this is how I was taught, or this is what they told me to do, so I'm just going to pass it along, and maybe this is right or maybe this is wrong. So I really feel like in the Black households, it's like, don't take your business out in the street, and people won't have anything to say about you because they won't know,
Yeah.
So I highly encourage therapy. I feel like it's very necessary because there are things that you cannot say
to your mama or your
mom or your dad. Yeah.
Hell no.
But then you go back to that, well, I'm kind of mad right now, or I'm sad. Ain't nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, you're taught that, but something really is wrong with me.
Or stop crying out so they just whoop me.
Yeah.
Come on, I'll give you something to cry about. You already gave me something to cry about. You already whooped me. I don't understand what's going on.
So then you take that way of therapy out of the household, and then you are trying to be the therapist to let us know that what you're feeling is not valid. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a strong taboo, but it's very real.
So in doing like some of the work that I've been doing, I just realized that, my parents only knew what they knew. And, it's still our responsibility, regardless of what was taught to us, to learn how to be our best self, regardless of, what, they went through. And so it's still my job, it's still my responsibility to try to find who I am as a person. And so I get it from that perspective of it is difficult sometimes when you're in a place in life and you kind of hit like this why of like, what type of decision am I going to make? The ones that my mom and dad made, or the ones that no one knows what is, but I'm just going to go out there and try it anyway. And I feel like you've made that decision of starting your own company, doing your own thing, creating for people. And I just want to question or just have that conversation of like, how did you get to that point of, keep going down going down this road and climbing up the corporate ladder, or just starting something from scratch and seeing where it goes?
I guess I just didn't want to continue with the slave mentality.
Speak on it. What do you mean by that?
So slave mentality to me is that, again, go back to how we were raised. So we were taught what to say, what not to say, what to do, what not to do. And
act accordingly when you're around certain people.
Yes. So I feel like the slave mentality is do as I say, not as I do, or it's going to be repercussions. So even with dealing with transitioning into being an adult, it's kind of like you're looking for not per se your master to tell you what you're supposed to do next.
Yeah.
But then again, I was taught that you're going to go to school, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And then once you do that, then you're going to be here. But then there were no dreamers.
Yeah, for sure.
Because again, it's a slave mentality of you can only think so far.
Yeah.
Don't let it overcrowd.
Or the dreamers got killed.
Correct.
And your parents' way of protecting you as a black kid was to tell you do not dream because they saw what happened to people who did dream.
Correct. Don't be overambitious.
Yeah, for sure.
I was never taught to be an entrepreneur. I was always taught that you're going to retire from someone's company. Yeah. And that is and I don't knock my parents or their beliefs, but then again, I put it in the same perspective as they're only taught what they were taught.
Yeah.
So if that was the trajectory that they felt like was success, then kudos. But for me, in a different mind frame, that's not what I consider success.
Gotcha.
And again, it's still harder for us to achieve that. And then it reverts back to our mental state. Like, okay, I'm doing all this, and the outside is tearing me down. So who do I have to rely on to release this mental, unless you have a mental break?
Yeah.
And then it's gone so far, and then you're reverting back to, well, then I might as well just, that's where I just feel like we're not good enough.
Yeah.
And I feel like it attacks our mental state of being because you're trying to achieve so much, but all in reality, you were taught that you weren't supposed to be overambitious at all.
For sure.
So once you get there, you're like, girl, you ain't supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
So sit down, get over there and sit down somewhere. You know what I mean?
It doesn't help either because they are happy for you, but they also want to protect you. So they're still, kind of shooting slugs, saying, why are you doing this? Go sit down somewhere, or just protect yourself, or them folks ain't gonna buy that stuff. And so it's on both sides. Mentally now you're asking yourself, like, am I even worthy of what it is that I'm going out there and getting? But then there's also people on the other side that you love that's also saying, like, are you worthy enough to be getting it too? So
it's kind of like you're being attacked from the outside and you're being attacked on the inside, and then there's no outlet either way. So when I started the business, of course you need money to start. So I did not have that, but I knew I had to, make a way. Something's got to come through. So I had my banker, and she said, I have this bank in San Antonio, and you're a minority and you're a woman, so, they'll help you. So I called the banker, and it was a guy, and he laughed at me, for one, and said that I wouldn't loan to you just because you're a woman. I wouldn't loan to you just because you're black. And then two, like, you're entitled in Bernie. Do you know anybody there? And I said, no. And he said, well, for those 3 reasons, I wouldn't lend to you. He said, but good luck. And I was like,
you got his name right now.
I was like, okay, I'm going to remember you.
Give him a shout out.
Yes, I'm going to remember you, Brandon.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Fuck you, Brandon.
But anyway, you take your defeats, right? And you're taught to just, okay, wipe it off, dust yourself off. But then at the end of the day, are you allowed to feel how you felt? Like I felt at my lowest at that point. So then it was like, okay, well, all right. So I just started this business. What am I going to do? But you have no out in the inside, and then you have no out on the outside because you're struggling, right? To figure out, like, are you even good enough for that? Yeah. So then you have so many people, and then mental health again. Who's going to protect you? Nobody but yourself. So you're having to take it in, and then try to release it in some kind of way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So mental health to me is super important because it's something that has been a taboo for a while. Mm-hmm. People are starting to talk about it more, but I feel like it's still taboo to an extent. So when we talk about mental health, what would be something to you that would tell you that you're healthy in a mental way?
Well, I'm very unhealthy mentally.
Now?
Yeah, well, because I just feel like I'm a new business owner. I don't know where I fit. And again, outside sources, and then you just don't know, right? Yeah. So you're in a space of unknownness.
Gotcha.
So I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know. I just feel like people say you need to seek counseling. You need to go talk to somebody. Maybe it's something deep rooted. No, it's you. No. No, it's not deep rooted. It's not a deep rooted issue. It's an issue that I'm having right now that I don't want to compress. And I just want to let people know, like, you suck. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, maybe sure. That at that moment, I have even like taken myself off of social media because I feel like at that moment, getting it out there, just letting people know how people act and how they treat you is a relieving moment for me.
Yeah.
But then you get all those things where, hey, girl, you shouldn't be doing that. You're a business owner. You don't need to be doing that. Why not? Yeah. Why can't we say
what needs to be said?
What needs to be said without, like, you did what you did.
Yeah.
And it was okay for you to do that. So why can't I call it out? You know what I mean? Without it being like, oh, that's again going back to the slave mentality of, okay, you can do this, but I need you to make sure that you bring it on back. Yeah. I'm gonna give you a book, but you can't read it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's just a mind control, and no one's able to release what's going on in their mind because there are too many people there that are like, don't do that.
Do you think it's this community where we live, or do you think it's everywhere we go?
I think it's the world.
Yeah.
I don't think that, I mean, I've had my share of communities. Odessa is an amazing community. When it wants to be.
When it
right?
wants to be, yeah, for sure.
But I just feel like it's a world thing. It's not just an isolated issue. I just feel like people have the issue.
Gotcha.
It's the people. It's not the town. It's the people in the town. So like they say, it's not the guns.
Yeah.
It's the people behind the guns. So it's the people.
So it's not the racist things that go on here or anywhere. It's the people that have the racist ideals.
Correct.
That feel like they're better than me because of color or money or status, and so they treat someone a certain type of way because of it.
True. Yeah, I can get behind that.
Makes sense.
But then again, it's kind of like, do you fight it or do you just curl up, right? So starting a business and not really knowing, okay, and I'm just a lovable, like, I love people. Yeah. So then to me, it's like, oh my God, the audacity Like, I would not treat people like that. But then, two, it's kind of like getting in that mind frame of you're continuing to alter your mindset.
For sure.
And then it's
let me tell you, let me say something right there and say this. That is the most difficult thing anyone could ever do in their lifetime.
Yeah.
If you live and you work and you were taught one thing, to stop at a certain age and be like, this is stupid, and to change it, it is scary, it is hard, it's confusing. Like it's all those things put in one, and then you at some point you feel crazy as hell. Like, and then you question, man, what am I doing? Because you know the easy way. Go get a job. I can make good money with this job. I can get into the oil field or do whatever it is that you do, and then make good money, and then live, work for 50 years, retire, and still live a pretty damn good life. But there's something that's inside of you that's like, I want to see what else is out there besides this. What you just said, I understand, because
it's just altering your way of thinking.
For sure.
But then, two, you have to be careful. Because are you altering your way of thinking because it's something that's necessary? Or are you altering your way of thinking because someone told you
that's how you
should be thinking?
Yeah.
Because you can get in a room full of people, and I hate to say this, but Black people can get in a room full of people and they will downgrade themselves to fit in with the people that they're in. Yeah. So to fit in with the people that they're around.
Yeah.
So my thing is, are you altering yourself to fit in with someone that you're not already in with, and you're not really presenting them your true self?
Yeah.
So then again, creating another mental instability of, okay, I'm going to be this person this way in these group of people, and then I'm going to be this way with these group of people. To me, I feel like I wore the biggest mask in Bernie.
Yeah.
Because of the people that I was around. And I felt like, oh my God, let me go ahead and not white, I guess you would say. I need to whitewash myself to fit in. But then moving back home, and everyone's like, well, why did you move back home? This is the most freeing I've ever felt, being back home. And being able to be myself and not mentally tear myself apart because of, oh my gosh, I've got to be this way. So I just feel like I'm able to be me because there are so many other people like me here.
Yeah.
But I've always vowed to myself that I will never change who I am anymore to suit or try to pursue business.
Yeah.
Because I am who I am, and I'm going to attract who I attract. But I will not whitewash myself in order to get in a room full of people that don't want me there anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or they're fake and don't like you.
Yeah.
One quote that changed my life was by Lisa Nichols, and she said, do not hide, protect, defend, or prove who you are to anyone. And so when you walk into a room, you're not hiding, you're not protecting, you're not defending, you're not proving. If you don't like me, I don't give a damn. That's not for me to try to understand why. That's on you.
Yeah.
And there's been most of my life, I've always tried to figure out why you didn't like me. Mm-hmm. Like, what did I do? What did I say? How did I make you feel? And now I'm just like, shit, well, hello and goodbye. You know what I mean? Like, there is no, I don't feel bad anymore. I don't feel bad because someone doesn't like me. It's crazy. Like, I felt bad because you didn't like me. And so I tried to, go over and beyond to make you friendly with me when your ass didn't like me because of one thing or another, and it had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's just one of those things where
I'm working on that.
I'm still learning it too. Like, I'm not saying like I'm all the way there, but I feel like if I ever get there, because I'm already like loud and I'm just like
You're
vibrant.
yourself.
Yeah. And so if I ever get there, I'll let you know for sure. I'll
I
let you
think
know
it's
for
just
sure.
a struggle, right?
For sure.
Because, again, you're altering your state of mind. You're like, okay, it sounds real good coming out your mouth,
It does.
but
Doing it.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. There's a quote I put on Facebook today, and it kind of talks about what we're talking about. And it says, if you stay silent about the problems to keep the peace, there is 0% chances that the problem get fixed. So you can't fix problems that you don't talk about.
that's true.
I will wait. You're right. Finish texting, girl.
I
You can finish
I
texting.
think that
You don't think that that's true?
no.
No. All right. So let me say it again and tell me why. So if you stay silent about the problems to keep the peace, there is 0% chance that the problem get fixed.
I don't feel okay. So I can agree with the first part.
Okay.
I don't agree with the second part because even if you voice it,
Mm-hmm.
is the problem going to be fixed? Not really.
Well, the problem doesn't have to be fixed, but it's
Because
out
people
there
are going to be who they are.
for sure.
And I've learned that people are going to stand behind, flock, support
Mm-hmm.
a person that
Doesn't need any of that.
correct.
Yeah.
So then you have those that treat people well, go above and beyond, and it like I was having this meeting with the ladies the other day, and it was like, I don't understand. Like, as a business, we go above and beyond, and it's like, why? Why do I see my counterparts like continuously like have all the work when people have so much negative things to say?
Yeah.
And we fight to be total opposites. So how is it, or what do we need to do to be like that?
Yeah.
But then too, like it's just a way of, if you call it out, it really doesn't get resolved anyway.
So this is my philosophy behind it. And it's going to go weird, and then it's going to come back, and it's going to go dark. But let's just say someone was being molested. There's a problem. If no one says anything about it, how does that get fixed? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say someone then says, like, hey, tells the parents this is what happened, and the parents don't believe that kid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that kid got that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he let someone know that he trusted, or they trusted, he or she, that they trusted, like, hey, this is what happened, right? And so the person then that has that information, they have to live with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's that problem that they have to live with for the rest of their life if they don't do anything about, what was being said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it kind of goes back to your counterparts when they talk about this one company doesn't treat people right,
Mm-hmm.
but they still get more bids than the people who do treat people right.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to ask yourself the question: how are they living really?
Correct.
Like, they're probably walking around heavy and miserable and upset and angry just about life in general because they're not doing what they need to do,
Mm-hmm.
or they're probably holding on and not trying to fix problems that need to be fixed. And the other counterpart, they're free,
Mm-hmm.
they're happy, they're not chained to anything because they're doing it the right way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just a big believer in, if I voice a problem, because I've voiced a lot of them, if when I see it, I'm like, bro, this is this, I get to now see who you are by how you react to that problem. If you act like that's not a problem or it doesn't exist, well, then I now know that you're a piece of crap.
Mm-hmm.
And that you don't want to deal with the problems that are ahead of you. And it's not like oh yeah, you are a piece of crap. I'm not going to go back on that. And if I tell you a problem and you want to help and you're trying to fix it, when that's where I want to be. Mm-hmm. I want to be where people who are trying to fix the problems and not just looking at problems saying like, well, that's not mine, and so I'm not going to have nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, a big issue when we talk about mental health, men's health, women's health. We all look around and be like, well, that's not my problem. I don't need to deal with it. But it's one or two words could change someone's life or make an impact if you say it, regardless of if it's your problem or not. I think a lot of people just get stuck into that mindset of, my problems are my problems, your problems are your problems. But at the end of the day, how do problems get fixed?
Correct.
It's never by yourself. There's always people around you that's helping you fix these problems. And so me thinking that way, I've found out that a lot of my problems that I had, I didn't ask for help, and they got bigger, they got worse, and it got to a point to where I was like, man, kind of what you said earlier, man, screw this. Like I don't want to be here. Mm-hmm. But when I started voicing them, saying like, hey, I'm having issues, or hey, I'm having problems, it helped me see people who wanted to help and people who didn't want to help. Then I was able to discern and like walk away from those people who I thought were real, like my real buddies, my real friends, able to walk away from them. And I found true people because, they're in this fight with me and they're trying to help. That's, whenever people say talk about it, regardless of if it gets resolved or not, you're able to see who's real with that problem or who's just like, oh, okay, it's a problem. Don't worry about it. It's not mine. Mm-hmm. What impact do you want to leave on this earth? When they say Kenisha Natividad, what are some things that you want people to say about you?
Well, one thing I just want people to, or I don't care who, but I just want it to be said that she loved me, and I felt it.
So going back to we talked about success. Can you define success for me? What is that? What is success to you?
Success to me is being able to be of service to others. I'm only as successful as I have been to someone else. So for me, success has always been about reaching back and touching and picking up someone along the way. So I've never been the type of person to gain and not reach back. Maybe it hasn't always worked out.
It hasn't always worked out, but you still...
It hasn't always worked out.
But it does.
But I can say that I've always been a person that has reached back and lifted someone along the way, even if no one has done that for me.
Got you. Last question is, how would you define love? I know you talked about how you want to leave this earth. You want people just to say like, she loves me. So what would that look like or feel like?
Love is a feeling, right? So if you've encountered me, then you've encountered Christ, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I just feel like in life, if I'm able to spread God's word, even through my job, even through my transactions, I feel like I've accomplished.
Gotcha.
So.
I like that. No one has ever said that in that way. So biblical.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got. So, if anyone hasn't told you today that they love you, let me be the first to say I love you, and Kenisha does too.
I love you.
You're awesome. You're amazing. You deserve the best that this world has to offer. Do not quit. Do not give up, because the world does not get easier, but you will get stronger. Y'all have a blessed Friday, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And for daily, motivational, and up-to-date content, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Excellence Above Talent. And remember, keep moving forward, never give up, and you are never alone in this battle. We'll see you next time.